Assalamu alaikum. I am Sumaya Marit. I am pre and postnatal fitness coach, and I am going to answer some quite common pregnancy, postpartum fitness related questions. So let's get started. So let's tackle one of the most common and still the most widespread pregnancy workout related myth, which is that you shouldn't work out in your first trimester or throughout your whole pregnancy at all, because this might cause you a miscarriage. And this is totally untrue, although it is true that in first trimester the rate of miscarriage is 1 in 5 women. But there is no evidence supporting that it is due to working out, due to exercises. This is my cat, Sozo. Nice to meet you. Why we should work out when we are pregnant, why we should continue working out, or why we should even start first time ever working out while we are pregnant. There are so many reasons. The list is excessively long. I'm just going to mention a few of them. Staying active throughout your pregnancy can actually prevent preterm birth. It can prevent or reduce the risk of getting gestational diabetes, low back pain. It can decrease gestational hypertension, so high blood pressure that is related to pregnancy. It can also prevent excessive weight gain during the pregnancy. It will support your post-birth recovery. The list is long. I have the full list of all of that on my social media, on my Instagram, so you will find all the specific details from there. So who can work out during pregnancy? All of you who have doctor's clearance for exercise, if you have no contraindications, and if you and your coach are following the safety guideline protocols, then you're good to go. What exercises are safe during pregnancy? Everything is safe that feels good for your body. There is something, if you're already in sport, then one of the things that you should avoid doing is Valsalva maneuver. So holding your breath while you are exercising. Another thing is that sports that are contact sports, like boxing, also activities that have a high risk of falling, water skiing, snowboarding. Then another group of exercises that you should keep away are exercises in heat, so hot yoga, hot pilates. In general, in pregnancy, there is a bigger risk of overheating. At some point, you need to abandon Olympic lifts if you have been doing Olympic lifting. And last but not least, working out on high altitudes if you are not living and used to be living in those altitudes. So let's talk about weight training and pregnancy. Weight training is very beneficial to do during pregnancy, but in pregnancy we should definitely have a combination of weight training and cardio. Weight training is good to support the changes in your body, to help your body to feel stronger, and to decrease the chances of getting any pregnancy-related back pains, pelvic pains, and also to prepare for postpartum time when you need to lift your baby or your baby in your car seat. You need to several times per day pick your baby up from the crib. Months go by, they get heavier, and you still need to keep lifting them up. And if you have not had that kind of strength before, and if you don't work out, there is a very high chance that you will start getting back pains, lower back, upper back, neck pains. So this is a good way to prepare. So if you're pregnant or you have been pregnant, then most probably you have experienced some pelvic pain or back pain, and this is something that can be either decrease this kind of pains or totally prevent with workouts. For those who are in postpartum phase or soon to be, inshallah, then your question might be, when can I start working out? When can I start doing the activities that I love? So first of all, it really depends what kind of birth you had. Did you have a C-section? Did you have a natural birth? And what was the overall outcome? Were there tears? Do you have stitches? So if you have any kind of wound, whether it's from a surgery or it's from a tear, or if it's from an episiotomy, first things first, the scars need to heal. Also, if you have any scar tissue, you should work with that scar tissue. Once it has healed, you should do scar massage to help the tissue where the scar is to become again more flexible and not to limit your movements or become hypersensitive. When you can start is that, let's say you had natural delivery, minor tears, no stitches, then you could basically start as soon as you feel good. If I'm talking about start, I'm not talking about the magical 6 weeks. I'm talking about if you feel fine already the next day or even a few hours later, you can start doing some breathing exercises, working slowly on your pelvic floor again, but it's everything up how you're feeling and how prepared you are to restart the exercises. Some people, they start a few hours after with breath work and pelvic floor contractions, and some people few weeks in, and other people 2 months or 6 months. And obviously with postpartum exercises, you start slowly and gradually. Even if you were a good athlete before, you need to start slowly and gradually to build up. If you don't do anything for the first 6 weeks, and then you think you got the doctor's clearance, you can start exercising, and then you will attempt immediately to run, this will counter benefit you. So always seek out information, find a postnatal fitness coach who can guide you to gradually work towards your fitness goal. So when we're talking about the abdominal separation that happens during the pregnancy and that everyone is worried about post-pregnancy, I want to all let you know one thing. Having that abdominal separation is a normal physiological part of pregnancy, and every pregnant woman will have it and will have to deal with it. So the only difference comes in how it will be after your delivery. And if you're asking about what is the best exercise to do for diastasis recti, the answer is exercise that targets the abdominal muscles, or an exercise that asks abdominal muscles, core muscles, to be engaged, and it does not cause this kind of doming, bulging. So if it doesn't cause the doming in your abdominals in the middle section where you have the diastasis recti, then this is a good exercise for you. And when we're talking about pelvic floor topics, pelvic floor health, pelvic floor function, pelvic floor dysfunction, then what we mean under that is either painful sex, leaking urine, leaking feces, or cannot hold in gas, and some other sorts of pain. How do you know if you have problem with your pelvic floor? For example, you are laughing hard, you're sneezing or coughing, and you're leaking a little bit urine. That's a pelvic floor dysfunction. You experiencing painful sex, that's a pelvic floor dysfunction. If you feel either constantly or during exercise or after a long time walking that there is some kind of downward pressure in your pelvic floor area, that's a sign of pelvic floor that needs to be worked with. So what I want you to all know is that having a pelvic floor dysfunction in the end of your pregnancy, leaking a little bit urine, is actually extremely common. And post-delivery, it's quite common as well. But the fact that it is common, it does not mean that it should be like that and it should stay like that forever. There are women who have pelvic floor dysfunction already before they got pregnant, and then it will continue throughout the pregnancy, or it will start first time in early pregnancy, or it will start in the end of the pregnancy when there is a lot of pressure on the pelvic floor muscles because of the growing belly and baby weight. And some women first time experience it post birth, depending of what kind of delivery they had. What I want you to know is that there are a lot of things that can be done for your pelvic floor health, and mostly and mainly very simple things, when done correctly, can have a huge difference in your pelvic health. If you have issues with your pelvic floor, you should seek out a pelvic floor physiotherapist who will make an assessment and knows to guide you how to improve the condition. For example, I have a client who experienced extreme pelvic floor dysfunction since early pregnancy, and with few exercises, with knowledge, education, awareness, and consistency in working out with core and pelvic floor, by the beginning of her third trimester, she had actually reduced all of her signs of pelvic floor dysfunction up to, let's say, 95%. Only at very extreme cases she still experienced just a little bit of urine leakage, but mostly the whole problem was solved for her. Some other thing about pelvic floor that one should know is that if you're in your third trimester, starting from 34, 36 weeks, you should more focus on pelvic floor relaxation and perineal massage to facilitate vaginal birth and attempting to prevent tears.